My name's Kaden Bagley. I got in an accident May the 2021. We were out tubing and the tube hit a wave and I was standing in the back, and so my grip gave out. I went like flying off the tube. When the boat came around and did a 360 to try to like knock people off and spin the tube, it came back and I was in the water and no one saw me in the middle of the boat. Kind of like went over my midsection of the legs, and the propeller caught my right and left leg, and then I was like pulled up on the back of the boat, got in an ambulance, was airlifted to the hospital.
We had a 45-minute drive to the hospital, probably the longest 45 minutes of my life. And I was able to see him, and he was awake and alert, and I was able to, really quickly kiss him and pray over him.
When patients have the types of injuries that Kaden sustained in his boating accident, there are times when there is such an amount of injury to a limb and the decision is made very early to need to proceed with amputating the limb. In his particular case, it was clear that his knee joint would not be salvageable and that the amputation would have to occur above the knee joint. One of the possible techniques that can be used is an amputation by the kneecap is actually preserved and able to be incorporated onto the end of the thigh bone, which provides for a more successful biomechanical end result because the quadricep muscle is still able to function more efficiently and makes the prosthetic use and fitting more successful.
After the accident, the next day was Mother's Day. Probably the hardest Mother's Day of my entire life. And I kept having to remind myself that it is a happy Mother's Day. My child's alive.
You can get so focused on your life before that you don't have anymore and how hard it's gonna be. It's like getting a new car or something. If you were attached to that car and then you wrecked it, and that's just kind of like your new life, and you just have to like adapt to it, and so it can either kill you or you can beat it.
When a patient has these types of injuries, it always is understandably a huge shock, not only to the patient, but their entire family and social support system. I have always been amazed at how well Kaden and his families have been able to come together and move forward on a new pathway in life. And I think that has played heavily into how well he's recovered and how successful his new pathway in life continues to be.
Kaden, about a year after his accident, said, "Mom, I want to go visit people in the hospital. Just give hope to people." So when they're sitting in that hospital, just staring at those four walls, I want to give hope. Julie Shane called me and said, "Would you be willing to visit Carson Galloway, who had just had an accident and was having to make the hard choices and decisions?"
My name is Carson Galloway, and last year I was involved in a motorcycle accident which led to the amputation of my right leg and a partial amputation of my left arm.
I'll never forget June 23rd, as long as I live, receiving that message that my son had been into an accident and learning how severe it was. After like his second or third surgery, Dr. Tucker sat down with me and really explained that amputation was a high likelihood at that point.
At first, we were trying to weigh the pros and cons of amputating it. That was when we met Kaden and Liz. They really helped with the whole mental aspect of it. Them showing us that this isn't really gonna slow you down, seeing how happy he was. I think seeing him helped me lead to the decision of amputating it.
One thing Kaden said to us was, "You'll get through it and you'll be able to do more than you think you can." That was very reassuring for us.
What I had shared with Carson and his mom that day was I wanted them to know that there is life outside this hospital. There is life outside these four walls. The injuries that we treat every single day are life-changing and life-altering. People don't wake up and ask for these things to happen. They're not planning for these things to happen. These things happen to them, usually. Even though life looks different, it still can be the same. You can still go out and do the same things. It just may be done a little bit differently.
Me and Carson have done like multiple activities. We've gone skiing. Like I also told him when he was in the hospital that like I had started walking in 3 months and that was like a record or something. And so he started walking in 2.5 months and he's like, "Oh, I beat you, I stole it." It's just like a competition at this point of like who can do what better or faster with a prosthetic. One thing that I love now is wheelchair basketball. It was just as competitive as normal basketball. It was honestly harder. It gave me an opportunity to go to college off it, which I would never have found in like lacrosse, like the kid that I was playing before.
Kaden has handled this accident so unbelievably well. He's provided so much hope for so many people around him. To be that person at such a young age, as his mom, I'm just so thankful to God for that.